Welcome to segment 6 of Focus on You, the 12-part series designed specifically to bring you into focus with yourself. The goal of this series is to help you to know, understand, and care for self. And we are indeed here midway in the series. We've looked at some very important aspects of our existence as human beings. We have discovered that we are tripart, consisting of mind, body, and spirit. We've also discovered thus far that we have a purpose, that we are worthy, and that our mind, body, and spirit are interconnected, interdependent, and interrelated. And we also discovered that the thoughts of our existence cannot have any importance outside of its connection to our body and our spirit. Now, last segment, which was segment number 5, we looked at the components of our mind, recognizing that, like our whole existence, it is a tripart entity consisting of our consciousness, our subconsciousness, and our superconsciousness. We've also looked at the fact that our thoughts are the engine by which our existence is driven. By that, I mean that if we do not take control of our thoughts, then we will be going in any direction that the world, the environment, and our feelings take us. So, the focus today is on taking control of thoughts. Why is it important for us to take control? But before we get to the importance of it, the question is, do we really have control? How do we get control? Why is it important for us to control our thoughts? Well, let's look at thoughts and what our thoughts do for us. We know from the previous experience that no one has ever seen the thought, and that's because it is an abstract but still very important and powerful component of human existence. Thought, mind, one and the same. The physical is our body structure, and we are very familiar with that, more so than we are with our thought processes. Some would even agree that we are more aware of our spiritual components, even though that might not necessarily be the case, because spiritual is often confused with religion, and they are two separate entities, as we will learn later on in another segment. But our thoughts influence who we are, our decisions, our likes and dislikes, our interests, our beliefs, our choices, and of course, it influences our health and well-being. We've discovered that our thoughts can be positive or negative. And it is in these two categories where the biggest impact on our health and well-being resides or is driven. For us to control our thoughts, we must be aware. My question to you is, do you know what your thoughts are predominantly focused on? What is it that occupies your thoughts from one moment to the other? Is it flowing at a steady rate? Is it running and racing and out of control? Or is it on autopilot where whatever comes, you're flowing with it? Or do you tap into your thoughts and control them? Some folks might say, is that really possible for me to control my thoughts? Yes, it is. Because every act that we engage in is driven or initiated by a thought. What we eat requires some level of consideration. Consideration requires thought. What we wear requires thought. Where we go requires thought. And in that process, there are choices. What is the mastermind behind your thoughts, behind your decision, behind your selection, of activities, of behaviors, of where you go, where you don't go? It has to be driven by your thoughts. And repetitive thoughts give rise to beliefs. They also give rise to habits. They also give rise to automatic actions without conscious selection. For instance, have you thought recently about where you lay every night? Or is it just an automatic thing? You have made your mind that your bed was in a room you call your bedroom, and you go there automatically every night when you are tired and ready for some rest. In that bed, there are pillows, there should be some bedding, such as sheets and quilts and blankets, for you to cover yourself based on the weather and the temperature of the room. But in that room, you gave some thought, well, at least I know most women would have, given thought to the color, the type of sheet. All of these are things that you give some thought to. Now, those thoughts are sometimes influenced by what you see in a magazine or what you grew up seeing your mother did. It goes based on the color that brings delight to you or comfort to you, but sometimes you have not even given thought to the fact. All you know is you like it, but what effect it has on you is hardly ever entered into your mind. And that is where we are taking this discussion today. Active thought processes are concerned with the effects of the choices that you make from day to day, moment by moment, hour by hour, year by year, week by week. The days go on. For me, I may not have a big choice or preference or not be fussy about what I do on my birthday, but there are people who begin to plan a birthday from a year on. There are people who plan vacations from year on. There are people who plan their meals from the day before or the week before. All of these things require thoughts. But there are some of us who plan absolutely nothing. So what does that say? We're sporadic in our actions. Sporadic actions often lead to disaster. Planned actions often lead to stress, or it can avoid stress depending on the level of preoccupation that you have. Do you see where I'm going with this discussion? There is a spectrum or a continuum of inactivity to hyperactivity or overactivity. And what we need to do with our thought processes is to keep it midstream, balanced, focused, so that we are living, acting, thinking healthy and balanced to the point that we know from one moment to the other that this is what my life is all about. In the absence of thoughtfulness, we have disease. Remember that word? Dis-ease. We have distortion of our thought processes, meaning that it can be overemphasized to the point where it makes us unhealthy. Then there are distractions. Do you hear all the D's in it? The distractions, because we have not pulled and harnessed the control of our thought processes. And so we have a responsibility, say in the home, on the job, in the community, but we are so distracted by our telephones, we're distracted by the demands being placed on us by others, we're distracted because we don't have a plan, and therefore there is disorganization, disorder, and it gives rise to discord. All of these things are not healthy. They leave us in a state of disarray. And we are hardly ever aware of it. But believe it or not, it causes us to become ill. There is a whole field of discipline called psychiatry, psychology, and even sociology that are geared towards helping us after we have fallen into disease, distortions, and disorder in our lives, and we are not able to function properly because of these maladjusted states, all because we failed or were not aware that we had control over our thought processes. And from the examples that I've given you, you now see how our mind is connected to our bodies, and it is also connected to our spiritual element, because in the distractions and the disorder, there are demands placed on us in the name of our spirituality called religion. Our religious following or selection also have the inclination or the tendency to place on us ideologies and beliefs that are sometimes far-fetched, distorted, and leads to distractions, preoccupations, and confusion. But believe it or not, you do have control. You can select. There is a statement in the Bible itself that says, study to show yourself approved. What does that mean? Study so that you will get the understanding on a personal level. Therefore, time is important. Time for self. Time to collect your thoughts. Time to seek clarity. Time for peace of mind. Time to establish comfort and security. All of these are thought-generated results. If you want clarity, you must spend time alone. You must slow down. You must seek out moments of quietness, moments where you can sort your thoughts. And it does not hurt for you to plan your life. In planning your life, there must be much thought put into it. And in so doing, you will definitely present yourself in a manner that is organized, that is easy, that is clear, that is orderly, that is in accordance with your personal desire, not the desire of your friends, your teacher, your parents, your neighbor, your boss, but your personal desire. Everything in your life is and should be based on your personal preference. Yes, community, unity, collaboration, cooperation is essential, but none of those things come before personal peace of mind, before personal desires and preferences. There are so many things that derail us, and all of that derailment comes because of busyness, because of confusion, because of the failure to take your personal life into control. It is not wrong for you to desire a peaceful day. It is not wrong for you desire to take a day off and refresh yourself. It is nothing wrong with turning off the television, putting your telephone down, shutting down your computer, and just spending some time alone. For the most part, many of us are not even aware that we can literally trace our thoughts. Yes. In a moment of silence, we feel uncomfortable because we have been programmed to go tick, 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 like the Energizer battery, like the pulse on a clock. But God does not desire that. Our Creator desires that we prosper, yes, and be in good health. And too many of us have taken hold of the chase for prosperity and have been neglecting our health. But there should be a balance between the two. Because another statement coming from the scripture says, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a strong mind. See how important the mind is? Love, power, and a strong mind. Our love is controlled by our thought processes. Our power is controlled by our thought processes. And then the strength of our mind resides in taking the time to know what our mind has the power to do. Our mind, our thought processes are the most important elements in our tripart existence because the body relies on the mind to guide it. And if your mind is very busy, out of control, believe you me, as will be discussed in our next segment, you will see how your health is affected. So the disease, the distortion, the disorder, the discord, we will take a little closer look at those in the next segment and see how to prevent these things from happening and how to take control. How can I take control? How can I track my thought processes? And do you know that you have the switch for converting from negative thought processes to positive thinking? Because those negative thought processes affect every aspect of your existence, including your spirituality. It definitely impacts your body. So I encourage you to come back and join me for segment number 7 next week, right here, same time, on my Facebook page. I am Audrey Mellayne, your Mould Breaker Doc, the organizer, administrator of Mould Breaker Empowerment and Education International Network. And this forum is one component of the network geared towards helping individuals in their life journey. It doesn't matter how messed up or how well controlled you feel you are, there is always room for improvement. And the goal of this forum is to help you to understand by giving you the knowledge and helping you to be aware that you have the control for who you are, and it is possible for you to live your best life now. The important thing is for you to know, understand, and care for yourself, because the control is in your hands. Until next time, I say to you, take control, take stock, take a look at those things. Take a look at how you are living. Are you living in the busy bee syndrome? Are you in cruise control? Or are you at the master control of your life? Because it is your God-given gift. This body, this mind, and the spiritual element, which, if is properly aligned, will give you the best experience that you can ever have in this life. So, break free of those molds that bind you to habits that harm you. And until next week, where we will look a little closer at how to take control, I say, begin the journey of examining the level of control that you now have. Take care. God bless.